Good morning, students. In today's session, we will study arrays, the types of an arrays. Firstly, introduction to an array. C++ provide a data structure, the array, which store fixed size sequential collection of element of the same type. That means the array is a data structure that we are going to use when we are having same type of data. So you are going to save the name of 100 students. One way is take string variable, string data type and store the 1000 names one by one. The other is the name of each and every student is with the string type, then make an array of that type. Similarly, if you are going to store 1000 items in your program, you are going to make where you have to store 1000 items in your program. One way is take 1000 variables. It's very difficult to remember the name of each and every variable. If I'm mentioning here 1000, if I'm mentioning here 10,000, then it will be more complex. To resolve that issue, when we have to solve where we have to store bulk of data which is of same type or which is of homogeneous type. We are having two types. One is homogeneous, other is heterogeneous. We are having same type of homogeneous type of data, then we use arrays. As I know, if there are 1000 values and all the items are of integer type, then I'm clear my data type will be of int. Then int is my data type. One way is I will take A, B, C, the 1000 variables. That is very difficult. The other way is I will make an array of 1000. Int is the name of the data type which I am going to use. A is the name of the variable and 1000 is the maximum size of an array. This syntax to write one-day array is, firstly you will write data type, then you are going to write the name of the variable which could be anything, then is the size of an array. If I'm saying the data type could be anything, int, char, float. If I will write here char, then if I'm writing a and 10, then it will not become array, it will be a string. So when you're going to define any variable as a character, then the concept will change from array to string. Fine. Then that means we are clear with which type of data type we can use here: int, float, double. The other than char data type, we can use any type of data type. If we are going to use char, then it will become string instead of an array. The second thing that is related to an array is location concept. If I'm saying an array, that means array will store the elements at consecutive memory location. That means one after the another. Let's take an example. If I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0 up to 5, it means maximums, and I will write here A. The data I'm going to store here is 1, 12, 23, 44, 56, 22, and 10. How I will make an array? First is, these are the memory location which is in the RAM. Fine. I'm writing here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is from my understanding, but exactly the memory location is in the form of hexadecimal. The concept we have cleared in our first lecture, that how your address will be stored and with which form your address will be stored, that is in the hexadecimal. Exactly, the value could be A, X, F, E, anything could be which is in the hexadecimal form, that will be your address, your location number. For our better understanding, we are just using 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The next thing is I am saying the name of an array is A. If I look at my data, then my data is of integer type. Then I'm clear with, I'm going to define my array as int. Name of the array is A. Then how many memory location I want? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means 6. How your data will be stored? I said data will be stored at consecutive memory location, that is first 12, then 23, then 44, then 56, then 22, then 10 will be there. Suppose if I will write here A and I will write here 10 instead of 6. I said this is the maximum size of an array. Size of an array or maximum size of an array. Here I'm going to use only 6 places or 6 memory location, but the memory size of an array is 10. That means 4 location will be get wasted here. Here I will write here 100. That means 94 location will be get wasted. Fine. This is the maximum size. So always take size according to your data. If you are aware of that, how much data you are going to store, you have little bit of knowledge that you are going to store only 10 values, take maximum size as A12 so that your memory location will not be get wasted. Right. The next is this is the concept of memory location. Or array consists of contiguous memory location. That is the concept of consecutive memory location. The lowest address correspond to the first element and the highest address correspond to the last element. Fine. Then is declaration. As I have told you that firstly you have to write down the data type, then the name of an array, then the dimension or the maximum size of an array. If I will look at this example, here in this example is int array 20. That means int is my data type, array is the name of an array. You can take any name of an array. It is not mandatory that you will mention only A as a variable of array type. You can write anything. Like in normal programming, you are using different variables. Here you can use different variables. Then 20 is the maximum size of an array. Then we are having two type of array. One is one dimensional or linear array, or other is called multidimensional. Here it includes two dimensional array or multidimensional array. Two dimensional arrays are also called matrix array. These are the different ways by which you can initialize your data. You must be aware of this thing. First thing is what I have written over the board, that if you are going to write int A10, that means you are going to give the values later on, but if you are clear with your values, then you are going to store 22, 44, 33 in your array. Then you will initialize it like int A10 equal to 22, 44, 33. This is the similar case as you are going to give your variable a value int A equal to 10. That means you are assigning the value A 10 to the A. Similarly, here you are assigning the values or initializing the value when you are defining your array. Right? As in the example over the presentation, you can see there is int and float, and there is another example of 2D array is int a 2 and 2. As we know, 2 into 2 means 4 elements should be your array. So how will you define it? You will initialize your array as 4 elements. You may write any elements, that will depend upon your usage, which element that you are going to define. That means 10, 20, 30, 40. First two will define the first row element. The second two elements will define the second row elements. Fine. It will be like 10, 20, 30, and 40. The compiler will understand your elements by this way. This is the way by which you can initialize your array in 2D also. Okay. I will go with the simple program first, and I will come to the presentation. How your array will work, then it will be easy for you to write any program in an array. Firstly, when you are going to display your array, program is you are going to display your one-dimensional array. What we require here is simple header files are required. No special header file is required here. Then your void main section. I will divide this code into two parts. Here there will be one clear screen function. Fine. Okay. In this, I'm saying I'm going to display one-dimensional array. First thing is your array cannot be implemented without using for loop. You have to use for loop. You can use other loops, but it will be very much complex for you to understand the loops of the other loop concept in an array. So we preferably will follow here for loop. Here I'm going to write int a is the name of an array and 10 is the maximum size of an array. That means maximum element that I can store in my array is 10. Then I will use here for int I equal to 0. I is less than 5. I plus plus. Firstly, I will restrict this program to enter only 5 elements. Okay, then I will make it generalized. How we can make it generalized? This is the scope of your for loop. You will be clear from this thing that how many iterations that you are going to have. Here it is 0. Okay, 0 to 5. That means how many elements are there? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means 5 elements are there. Right? Then you will write here C in AI. Fine. Here I will write, after this your for loop scope has been over. With Cin, you will enter your elements. Now the concept of your cout, you will write I equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. And instead of Cin, you will write cout. Then get ch, your program is over. Fine. Now, how your program is working at the back end, because when you run your program over the console, you will give your 5 elements and you will get your 5 elements. But what happened exactly in the compiler in the backend, that is, if you understand this concept once, then it will be very easy for you to understand the other concept of arrays. Fine. Firstly, I will come to here. There is clear screen function. This is the declaration of your array. I will come here. Now, after this, you are getting your for loop. You will write for. This is in the backend. This is not visible to you. For, I'm getting I equal to 0. I is less than 5 means 0 is less than 5. Yes, condition is true. Then there is an iteration. Iteration means your I will be incremented, but this is your post increment. So I will consider the value of I for the next time. Fine. So I have marked it in a circle that I'm going to consider 1 the next time. For currently, the value of I is 1. As I'm going to enter in a loop, I'm getting C in, that means to enter the value A0. This is my array as the name A, having 10 locations. I'm not going to extend it because I'm with the 5 elements. Fine. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on up to 9, 0 to 9. Right. What is the exact name of this column cell is A0. What I'm getting here, scene A0 means I am at this location. So I will enter my first value 10 here. Then I am in the closing of the loop. My control will go back to the loop again until my this condition will become false. That means after writing 10, I'm going back to the for loop. Second time, my for loop will work like for I equal to, now the value of I which has been incremented here will be considered here. Fine. 1 is less than 5. Yes, condition is true here again. Then there is again post increment. I will again mark it in a circle so that I can consider it later on. Then again there is C in. Now the value of AI, now the value of I is 1. I'm at this location A1. Now I will write one value here. Now third time when my loop will work, again I will write I equal to 2, which has been incremented in the previous step, but I have to consider it in the next step. Then again I will check the condition 2 is less than 5. Yes, again the condition is true. I will be incremented, but I have to consider the value of I in the next iteration. So I will consider the value of I as 2 only. Then I am at this location A2. I will write 30. This is the third time when your program is running. Now I will go with the fourth time for I equal to 3. 3 is less than 5. Yes, condition is again true. Then there is again post increment which is to be considered next time. Then C in again. Then A3. Now I am at this location A3. I will enter here 40. Then fifth iteration is there. I equal to 4. 4 is less than 5. Yes, again condition is true. I will again enter into a loop C in A4. Now I'm at least this location. I will enter here 50. Then my program control will go back for I equal to 5. 5 is less than 5. No, the condition become false. 5 is not less than 5. 5 is equal to 5. So I have to cut my loop here. My program control will go back to here. Fine. I have entered 5 elements. I have entered the 5 elements according to the condition which I have mentioned here. Okay. Similarly, your for loop will work. Here it is I equal to 0, I equal to 0, 0 is less than 5, yes, again true. Then there is post increment. Then instead of C in, what I am getting here, C out. That means whatsoever is at C out A0 location will be get displayed to your circuit. You will get the output 10. Then your program control will go back I equal to 1. 1 is less than 5 because both the loops are same. So when you are going to display or going to start from your basic memory location, which is start, when you are going to enter or going to execute, use the same loop. You can check the loops are same, only the difference is of C out. Then similarly, for the second step, I equal to 0, I equal to 1, 1 is less than 5. Then there is post increment. Then instead of C in, I will use C out. I will display the value which is at A1 location. So I am going to display 20 here. Similarly, the iteration is there. Then instead of C in, I am going to use C out, which is at A2 location. Your 30 will be get display. Same loop will work. Then instead of C in, I will use C out. Your A3 location will be get display, which is 40. Then your A4 location will be get displayed, which is 50. Then again, your loop will be get terminated when you get the condition 5 is less than 5. This is a fixed program when you are going to enter your 5 elements only. Let's make it generalized. If I am using the word generalized, that means at the runtime you are going to give the elements. It means when you are going to give the elements, there is little bit change here. No change in your looping. Just you will use one variable as n here. Then you will write one cout statement. Enter number of elements, or you may say cin and here. Then you will write your loop as 4, I equal to 0, I is less than n. Instead of 5 you will write n here. Then there is an iteration. Then there is cin ai. Now the condition is whatsoever your value of n, the loop will go and loop will iterate accordingly. Similarly, here instead of 5, I will use n. Let's run this, how your program will run in the backend. This is the maximum size. Then there is a number of elements. If I enter the number of elements as 5, then your loop will become the same which we have executed first. I equal to 0, 0 is less than n, the value of n is 5 here. Then similarly, the whole concept will work that I have told you. This is your one-dimensional array, how you will display it. Okay, to continue with your two-dimensional array, let's see how you can display your two-dimensional array. Then we will see what are the different way to initialize your arrays. Now we have covered how you will display your one-dimensional array. Now is 2D array or matrix array. This is important to understand. Firstly, simple header files are required here. No special header file is required. Then your void main section. Here I'm going to define two dimensionals. So I will define here two dimensions here. If I will write 10 by 10, that means the maximum elements that I can take in my array is 100, because 10 into 10 matrix is there. The maximum array that I can store in my maximum element that I can store in my array is 100. Okay, then I will write here M N I J. I'm going to make it generalized. M is a variable which will give you row size. N is the variable which will give you column size. This is for the iteration of row. This is for the iteration of column. I will use iteration. Fine. Firstly, I will write cout, enter number of rows. Then I will write C in M. Then cout, enter number of columns, C in N. Fine. Firstly, I will use the C in, then I will come to cout. After this, you will write for loop. As I say, when you have to give or iterate your row, you have to use the variable I. So I will use I here, starting from 0. I is less than which variable is connected with the rows, that is M. So I will iterate my row I is less than M, then I plus plus. Then this is nested for concept. Under this for loop, I will use this for loop for column for j equal to 0. J is less than, as the n variable is concerned with the column here. So I will use n here, j plus plus. Then I will enter C in A, I, J. Then I'm going to close my loops here. I'm not going to write full program here. Firstly, we will understand this, then I will display it. Okay, I will use here scene firstly. Okay. Now let's see what has been happened in here. This is the declaration of your array. Then M is the maximum size of your rows. Column is N is the size of your column. I is for iteration of row. J is for iteration of column. I said enter maximum number of rows. Let's enter MS2. Enter number of column plus enter NS2. It will depend upon you what is the matrix that you are going to define here. I said 2 by 2 matrix. Maximum size is 10 into 10, but I'm going to use 2 into 2, means maximum element that I can store here is 4 elements are here. This is my matrix. Is it 0, 1, 0, 1? How I come to 0, 1, 0, 1? Because there are 4 elements are there, 2 by 2 matrix are there. I'm going to define 2 by 2 matrix. That means 2 rows and 2 columns are there, right? If I find out the location, let's take the matrix as a name of A matrix. If you're going to find out the location value, then 0 will be get multiplied by 0. It will be 0, 0. 0 will be get attached with 1. It will be 0, 1 location. This is 1, 0 location. This is 1, 1 location. What you are going to get here is A, 0, 0, A, 0, 1, A, 1, 0 and A, 1, 1. When you are going to use these for loop, you will get these type of combination as a location combination. Fine. Let's iterate this for loop. First is for I equal to 0. 0 is less than 2 here because there is a value of M. Value of M is 2 here. So I'm writing here 2. Then there is an iteration of I. Then again in for loop, I am getting another for loop which is of the variable j. J equal to 0. 0 is less than, is that N is there. I will use 2 here, then there is iteration of j. Please look at this concept very carefully. Then there is c in. Here I am getting the value of I and j. For the first time, let's find out the value of I. The value of I is 0. The value of j is 0. Fine. Both the condition are true. 0 is less than 2. 0 is less than 2. So I have iterated. I am getting 0, 0 location. This is 0, 0 location. Let's store any value here. That is, I said value will be here. This is my first value. Fine. Now the main concept, there is closing of your for loop. Closing of your for loop, which is concerned with your j. You cannot terminate this loop until your this condition will become false. That means you are still under your first step, and this is the another step which is under your first step. Fine. Your first iteration is going on, but under the first iteration, you haven't completed the complete iteration because your j condition has not been filled. Then your for loop will work, but your for loop will work with j variable here, not with the I. Then the value of j is 1. 1 is less than 2. Then there is an iteration. Then you will go with c in. Now the value of I and j. This is important. Here you have just changed the value of j, but your value of I is 0 here. So you will get the combination A01. Then there is closing A01. Let's suppose there is 22 which is at A01 location. Let's store it. Then your program control will again go back to your j loop. Your third iteration will go as 4. J equal to 2. 2 is less than 2. No, this condition will become false. When this condition will become false, you will go back to your I loop. Fine. Okay. This is the way by which you are getting your 0, 0 location and 0, 1 location. Then I will go back here. I will run the remaining iteration here. Here I will come to, I said after this, my program control will go back to the I loop. That means my second iteration will work, which is starting from your I 4. Here the value of I is, this is 0. I said consider the value of I, which is 1, but for the next time, now this is the next time for I. Then again, 1 is less than 2. This is true. Then there is iteration of I. The iteration of I is there, but we will consider the value of I as 2 for the next time. Again, your j will be reset. We will not pick the latest value of j. Your j will be reset because we are going to iterate it again. Your j will become 0. Again, 0 is less than 2. Condition is true. Then there is iteration in j. Then again, I am getting c in ij. Here the value of I will become 1 and j will become 0. I am getting the combination 1, 0. This is the combination 1, 0. I am going to write any value here. I will write here 32. Similarly, my program control will go back to the j again because the condition has not become false. J is equal to 1. 1 is less than 2. Again, this condition is true. Then there is an iteration in j. Then again, I'm getting the combination aij. The combination is value of I is 1. The value of j is 1 here. I'm getting this combination A11. I will write here any value. I'm writing here 44. Then again my program control will go here 4. J equal to 2. 2 is less than 2. No, this condition will become false. Now my program control will go back to the I loop. Let's understand what is in the I loop. I loop say for I equal to 2. This is for the next iteration which we have to consider. Then 2 is less than 2. This also become false, and by this you can getting your 4 values where you are required here. This is the way by which you will enter your value. By the same way, you will display your values. After this, you will write your program to continue your program. I equal to 0, I is less than m, I plus plus. Similarly, for j equal to 0, j is less than n. You will use the same loop because you are going to take the variable from the same address. Then get ch, your program will be over. Let's understand this concept here. Firstly, if you want your output in a matrix format, otherwise you will get your output in a single line. You want to get your output in a matrix format, that first 2 values in the row and next 2 values in the next row. Then how will your matrix will work? Firstly, you will enter into a loop by the same way as you have entered in your C in I equal to 0, 0 is less than 2, then there is an iteration. But the same way this will work, then instead of C in, you will get C out. Whatsoever was in your C out will be get displayed. Let's take as 12 was in your 0, 0 location, it was displayed. Then there is a combination of 0, 1. This element will be get displayed, which is at 0, 1 location. Now the turn is with why I'm writing the again here, because I want to know you ki how you can get your output in next line. After this, I said your program will go back to the I loop. When your program will go back to the I loop, this is the time when you use your endl. Then you will write your cout endl or /n for your next line. When the j loop control will be get over, then you are out of this j loop. After this j loop, you are getting cout endl. That means your cursor will definitely move to the next line here. By the same way, your other loop will work. You will get the combination 1, 0 and 1, 1, and your values will be get displayed. Fine. Okay, to continue with your 2D array, this is your example. As I have written one program with the header files iostream and conio, then there is a void main section. Here the thing I have highlighted here, that how can you initialize your 2D array. One way is you will write the elements in curly parentheses as 1, 2, 3, 4. The other ways, if you are specified 1 and 2 your first row element, then you can declare it by same way, both are same. You can either go by first way or by second way. This is the way by which when you are clear with your elements, which element you are going to take. Then is okay. You can take your first array as empty array. Fine. If you are going to take your first array size as an empty array, then by default your compiler will pick it. If I'm writing here int a empty 2 here, fine. It means, or I'm going to define the variables 10, 20, 30, 40. Then by default, you will get 2 here. There is no need to mention the maximum size of rows here. Right? You don't have to specify the size of your two-dimensional array. First size of your two-dimensional array here. By default, it will be picked from your loops, that if you are defining your loop as 0 is less than 2, I plus plus, then your 2 will be get substituted here. You won't get any error. You must be clear. You may get this type of question in your MCQs, that if you whether you will get an error if you are going to give this as empty array. No, you are not going to get any type of an error. But if you're not going to define any column size here, you will get an error. It is mandatory to define your column size. You can leave the row size, but you can't leave the column size. Then this is another example. If you are going to take 2 by 3 matrix here, 2 by 3 2D array here is, then that means 2 specify the rows and 3 specified the column here. Then your elements will be 10, 20, 30. That will be your first row element, and 40, 50, 60. That will be your second row elements. Then these are the advantages of an array. Array represent multiple data items of same type using single name. That means if you are going to define an array, you are going to define same type of data. In array, the elements are accessed randomly by using the index number. Index number means memory location. If I want to display particular location element, I can display. Array allocate memory in contiguous memory location for all its elements. There is no chance of extra memory being located in case of array. This avoids memory overflow or shortage of memory in array. Using array, other structures like linked list, tags, queues, trees, graphs can be implemented. 2D array are used to represent matrices. Disadvantages of an array is the number of elements to be stored in an array should be known in advance, otherwise there will be wastage of memory. Insertion and deletion are quite difficult in an array as the elements are stored in consecutive memory location, and shifting operation is costly, because when you are going to insert any new element in between of your array, you have to shift the other elements, and when you have to delete your element from an existing array, you have to shift the elements. Then it says shifting cost is operation is quite costly. Allocating more memory than the required leads to the wastage of memory space, and less allocation of memory also leads to problems. So you are defining a maximum size, but you are using little bit, then again there is a wastage of memory. But you are specifying minimum size, but you have to allocate more element, then it also leads to problem.